Good evening. I'd like to call the November 1st, 2023 meeting of the Civil Rights Board to order at 5 p.m. Director Hewitt-Smith, will you please do a roll call?
Yes, I will. Good evening. Chairperson Faison,
Present.
Vice Chair Lukeman,
Present.
Director Calderon,
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Present.
Director Burpee,
Excused absence.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for completion of roll call.
Thank you. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt this evening's agenda. Is there a motion?
I motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
How about a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion from Vice Chair Lukeman. Okay, we're actually going to strike the adoption because we do not have a quorum for the adoption. That will be tabled to next meeting, as well as an adoption of the minutes. Next, we will have public announcements and communications. So we do not have any public announcements for this evening. First order of business is going to be Civil Rights Board complaint update discussion. And so we'll open this up for discussion. I actually added this to the agenda. One of the things that I wanted to discuss was the complaints that were coming in. We kind of did have a little bit about this discussion during our subcommittee, just basically wanting to be able to have the information and the breakdown, basically so we can be able to relay the information back to the community.
This is Director Hewitt-Smith. In your the information that has been provided to the board today, we have provided you. Law has updated, changed the format a little bit, make it a little bit more formal, adding our logo, working on the font. I know it's difficult for some to read, but if we still continue to play with that. And she also has provided you with a civil rights log summary. If you see that in your information. Any changes or modifications, most definitely please express them today so we can continue to work on it.
Thank you, Director Hewitt-Smith, for that update, as well as thank you, Lau, for providing us with this information. Would anybody have anything to discuss? Okay, well, it looks like we'll be moving on to our next order of business. And that is the Ordinance Review Subcommittee update. And so we'll have a little discussion around that.
This is Director Lukeman. The Ordinance Review Subcommittee had the pleasure of meeting last week. Or was it Monday? It was last it was last Wednesday. And we, everyone on the subcommittee attended our first meeting. We set goals for the subcommittee as well as a calendar for the meetings of that subcommittee. The initial meetings are going to be every other week until we feel like we have presented enough of changes or work to, maybe drop that down to one time per month. But the goal is to meet bi-weekly until we can present some changes to the board.
Thank you for that update, Vice Chair Lukeman.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Hoffman. I just also wanted to say that it was a pleasure to spend that time with you all and the former Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin and Lewis Smith, who is an attorney and will have a set of eyes on it from the community's perspective. So we look forward to presenting something with our city attorney's office sooner than later. But we want to make sure that we're being thorough and that whatever we can get done or present to the city commission, that we do it all at one time versus coming back. So those are the things that we'll be working on. Thank you.
I just want to add as well, Attorney Smith, I'm sorry, I'm probably Jones, Mercy. See, I'm sorry because I'm used to calling everybody by their first name. Attorney Jones, I just want to say she did put in quite a bit of work. She wasn't able to be at the last meeting with us, so she has definitely started some of the rewrite for us, so I definitely want to say thank you for that. That is it for the updates for our subcommittee, and now we will actually move to public comments. And if you would like to make a public comment, please sign over to the right. Hold on just 1 second. Your mic isn't on yet. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to thank you for this progress that I just heard you report. I'm so pleased that your subcommittees work, started the work towards getting the new language so the housing equity ordinance will be enforced. That's so important. You see why I wore my Isaac shirt. I represent a lot of people at Isaac who really care about enforcing the housing equity ordinance. And I also want to thank you for doing a good job filling openings, and I'd like to hear from you what openings still exist on the CRB, if you still have any. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Chaponda. I wear a few hats around here. I am a member of the community. I work for Open Doors, and I'm also the housing chair for NAACP. I'm coming here to thank you for the work you are doing, making sure that the ordinance that the community fought so hard to get continues to be alive. While we are trying to fix these problems, the problems that the ordinance seeks to address are not stopping, they are continuing. So I would like to urge you to move a little bit faster. Thank you for what you are doing so far, so that we can get this ordinance going. The community really looks forward to this committee finally being able to achieve what was voted in this chamber overwhelmingly. It was unanimous that this ordinance be in place, and we continue to urge you to treat it in the same vein. So thank you so much for what you do. and we look forward to the committee finally getting us to start implementing some of the issues we face every day. So I want to thank you so very much.
Thank you. That looks like all the comments. Do we have anyone on the phone, Lau?
Caller ending in 0411, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name's Richard Stewart. I'm a resident of the city. I would just like to ask the board in its rewrite to seriously consider renaming the board during its rewrite to more accurately and honestly reflect what the board does. Civil rights is not an honest name for this board. It is a Chapter 19 or possibly an anti-racist board. So that should identify the board by an honest name. I know of several parties that have been misled to file complaints with this board that were should have been direct with other agencies that this board has no business being the middleman for. So I do ask that you legitimize the board with an honest name during the rewrite phase. As a person with invisible disabilities, I do feel that the board does not represent all persons with civil rights, and I have civil rights. I've felt for a long time that the city is biased, and I, to this day, cannot get anyone on this board to insist the city include disability equality and inclusion in the Imagine Kalamazoo 2025 master plan. I don't know why you sit there and ignore that fact, but it is completely absent from the plan. I would appreciate any response to that or assistance that you could provide, but it is outside your scope. I realize that, and would just ask that you finally correct the name of this board for what it actually represents and does. And I wish you well in the effort for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
We have no other callers.
Thank you, Lau. At this time, we will have comments from our board members.
Actually, I just wanted to mention, I know that we're tabling the minutes, so I did notice that there was a typo in my name in the minutes. So should I bring that up to Lau? All right, thank you.
This is Director Lukeman. I wanted to, for clarity purposes, indicate that there are 2 board seats left on the board. And we are scheduled for an interview next week. But I would certainly, again, encourage those that live in the city of Kalamazoo to visit the city website and apply for the board.
This is Director Calderon-Hueso. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. I definitely wrote it down and did not mention that. However, I was wondering if we could clarify the committees and if there's any openings on the committees as well, subcommittees, excuse me.
As of now, I know we have the subcommittee for the rewrite of the ordinance. That subcommittee is actually full. I don't believe we've appointed everyone for the committee to educate yet because we wanted to table that until we had the rewrite done so that we're not educating them on what the ordinance is currently, and we can kind of do all of that once the ordinance is complete.
Yeah, I was basically looking to see if there was any need in the nominating subcommittee, because I think there's only 2 people. That may be something that was tabled at that same time for the discussion around the subcommittees.
Okay. We did talk about that in the last meeting because there were only 2 on there. Or we had said as far as 1 voting member. So maybe we'll come back to that even once we get a full board to see if we want to bring on 1 more person to sit on the nominating committee. Well, I asked, with me being new to this, how many from the board are usually on the nominating subcommittee that does not include city employees?
So this is the first time that we've had, this is Commissioner Hoffman, this is the first time that we've had a nominating committee, as well as a education and the ordinance review committee. So we are learning as we go. And my question would be to Director Calderon. So are you interested in being on the nominating committee?
Yes, I am.
So previously, were individuals just nominated to be on the,
They were, we
or appointed?
volunteered.
Or volunteered?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have another interview that's coming up, and if you are interested, then you can be on that. How about I just appoint you to be on there, and you can attend the next interview?
Sounds good, Chair.
Okay, so now we'll just make sure we add that to the minutes, that she will actually be on the nominating committee. Thank you, Director Calderon.
My pleasure.
This is Chair Faison. I appreciate everyone who always comes out and support us and the changes, and we also thank you so much for your patience. I can say that this has been a road even since I've been here, as far as those that have been resigning, replacing, but I can say those of us who have been here, we have been pushing and striving in order to make some changes and get things accomplished. We've went from every other month to every month. Instead of us meeting monthly in regards to the subcommittee, we've decided to do that bi-weekly because we want to see the progress just as well as the community. So we are trying to make some progress, and so we thank you. We appreciate your patience, but we want this just as much as the community.
This is Director Lukeman. On top of that, I also wouldn't, I want to encourage that this ordinance is still here in place and it does exist as it needs changes that we've grown to learn, but the foundation of it is there. So I still want to encourage the folks that might, say, why make a report now or why make a complaint now, that it is still, this is the foundation. So the foundation is there to this ordinance. If there are complaints, they need to come and need to make the complaints to the city and to the board.
And I want to piggyback off of that real quick. One of the discussions that we did have during our subcommittee is that although complaints may come into the CRB, that does not mean that they stay in the city. And so we wanted to also inform the community that some of these also go out to other organizations as well as they seem appropriate. So as whatever is going to be here within the city that we will deal with, we will definitely make sure that we are trying to get updates. We've talked about trying to get updates even from places where they're going, but even though people may not hear something as soon as they think, does not mean that we are not actually trying to do the work.
This is Commissioner Hoffman, and I just want to name a couple of those places that when it is out of the purview of the city's attorney office, that we will send that to the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, or to the Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan. So it's not like your complaint is sitting here or being ignored. There's another step in the process. So Michigan Department of Civil Rights, and then also the Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan. So what we are trying to do is build those relationships with those two organizations to ensure that we get some kind of follow-up so that we can continue to inform community as to what happened in that specific case. We may not be able to get the nuts and bolts of it, but we can say, we hope to build a relationship to say whether the case was, whether the complaint was right, and if there was an infraction, or if it had been settled. So as we continue to do the work on the board, we'll just continue to strengthen what we are doing and make sure that we can be as transparent as possible. So, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, but a lot of great work has already been done, or we wouldn't be here tonight. So, thank you.
Hi, this is Director Hewitt-Smith. I also want to follow up with Commissioner Hoffman. The DEI department, as we do receive those complaints, and if they are designated to a different agency, and whether we take them on or not, whether our city attorney takes us, we do contact the complainant and let them know what the next steps are, and they should hear, whatever the follow-up may be. So we do notify the individual as soon as we receive it of where it was basically the next designee is. So I just want to let the community know that as well.
Thank you. I think this concludes our meeting, and I would like to entertain a motion to dismiss. Oh, we don't have a quorum?
No motion.
Okay, so I am going to adjourn this meeting on November 1st, 2023 at 5:22 p.m.